traditional manner. On September 8th, so a week from Tuesday, when all of Somerville's students start the year, some will receive in-person instruction, while others will begin the year learning remotely. Regardless of whether a student is here at school or sitting at their kitchen table, our objective has been clear from the start: to ensure that the high-quality education that this community and our state are known for is not compromised in any way. Yesterday, I put forward my revised budget for the 2021 fiscal year, which now largely coincides, it does not normally, but it largely coincides with the 2020-21 academic year. And I'm proud that because of the decision we made to not abandon our priorities and our values, we have been able to ensure that school aid remained at record levels, and that we will invest an additional $68 million in our efforts to support pre-K, including of that 68, $10 million to expand programs for our youngest learners into new districts. So not just expansion of the districts we're already in, but some amount of money to go into new places. These are not just wise investments in our communities, they are absolutely necessary investments in our future. We know that when we invest in education, that investment pays off big time throughout the life of a child. This is especially true for high-quality pre-K, where the experts will tell you for every dollar you invest, you get 9 times back over the life of that child. That's a deal that we would make any day, but that we must make especially now when our state is lifting itself up from the COVID-19 crisis and repositioning itself for a promising future. The price of the current emergency should not be paid with the futures of the next generation of New Jerseyans. And here in Somerville, to take those gross numbers for the state level, this commitment translates to just shy of $268,000 in new school aid for this year, as well as an additional $112,000 to support and grow the pre-K program for this community's youngest learners. That's $380,000 in total, pre-K through 12, to help build the next generation while also supporting the current generation of property taxpayers. All of that is in addition to the aid levels from last year. So this is now for Somerville measured in the many millions. Now, of course, given the hybrid model of education which Somerville has chosen, it also means that we must ensure that no student is at an educational disadvantage. And in our budget yesterday, we pointed a way forward for this challenge as well. I am proud today to also announce, so in addition to everything else I've just said and we said yesterday, that we will be investing $100 million of our coronavirus relief funds to help districts like Somerville to defray the costs of reopening and get to a place where there is safe in-person instruction. As I noticed in my budget address yesterday, and I must acknowledge the oddity of being the first governor in memory, if not ever, to deliver 2 budgets in 1 year, we will not shrink from this moment in our history. We will not cut and run on the dreams of millions of New Jerseyans, especially our students. Yes, this pandemic has made us have to rethink many things, but one of the things that will not change are our Jersey values, values which put a premium on securing the next generation and which have looked at our public schools as the way to do it. COVID-19 has taken much from us and much out of us, but it has also steeled our sense of community and our recognition that we are all in this together. And that's how it should be, especially when the issue is educating our kids. Again, I'm incredibly proud to be back here in Somerville. This is a tremendous and tight-knit community with strong values and deep roots which COVID-19 cannot and will not ever reach. And I know that by working together across local, county, and state government, New Jersey will not only rise to meet the challenges we face, but we will rise to new heights beyond. Thank you for that. And with that, it is my pleasure representing the 16th Legislative District. And by the way, we've got 3 extraordinary representatives from both parties, by the way, importantly. And education is one of those things that brings us all together, regardless of what our parties are. Please help me welcome Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker. My pleasure, buddy.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, everybody. It is my distinct pleasure to be here at Somerville High School today with my colleagues, Assemblyman Fryman, and perhaps the legislator who knows this particular football field better than any other legislator in the history of New Jersey politics, former football player and Senator Kip Bateman. I just want to know if you scored any touchdowns over here on this side. So, as the mayor pointed out, Somerville is not just a jewel of the 16th district. It's not just a jewel of Somerset County. It's a jewel of New Jersey. It's a jewel because of the fact that it has a vibrant downtown. It has a walkable downtown. It has affordable housing. It has a sense of community that every town aspires to. It also has a school system that draws people to it, where families come because Somerville is a place where you want to raise a family and send your students to school, send your children to school. And that's not just my opinion, that's also something that the state has recognized by designating Somerville as a lighthouse school district, a district that has year after year put together the data to show tremendous improvement to make sure that its education is equitable for all students here, regardless of their background, regardless of their income, regardless of anything. Somerville lifts up every single student. They couldn't do that without the tremendous, tremendous hard work of teachers, the support personnel, and the administrators of the district, who in these, as governors you've pointed out, these incredibly challenging times have risen to the occasion and made sure that no matter what this school year looks like, that the students of Somerville are going to get the same high quality education that they get every single year. And Governor, as you pointed out, the investment that you've laid forth in your budget is an investment in children. And every economist who's ever studied investing in public education has found that the return on investment is huge. The return on investment means that it lifts up people, it increases wages, provides the opportunities that we want for the people of New Jersey. So, Governor, I commend you for the budget you've put forth. Thank you for a moment to speak. Looking forward to working with everybody as we move this school year forward. So thank you so much.
Kip, I'm betting it was not a turf field. It was natural grass, right? Yeah, it was mud, natural mud. Thank you, Andrew. And I echo, by the way, one of the great treats in my time as governor was walking Main Street with Dennis and just going door to door, restaurant to restaurant, and this is a magical community. I echo that, Andrew. Thank you very much. This is a magical county, and it's one of those great examples of how government should work. Again, bipartisan leadership with an extraordinary freeholder director, soon to be director or chair of the county commissioners in Somerset County as of January 1st. Please help me welcome the wonderful, extraordinary Chanel Robinson.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor Murphy, for coming to visit us here in Somerset County. You have been a friend to our communities, and we appreciate it greatly. I would like to especially thank you for fulfilling your promise to maintain full school funding from your pre-COVID budget, even in this difficult environment. During my time as a Franklin Township Council member, and even more so now as freeholder director, I know that the balancing act of producing a funding plan with the limited resources and great community needs. As elected officials, we owe it to our communities to be good stewards of their tax dollars while maximizing the benefits of the community and to the community. It takes a major effort in the best of times, and we certainly are not in the best of times. Every level of government, whether a school, a town, a county, or even the state of New Jersey, we're all facing the increased cost of protecting our employees and constituents during this COVID pandemic. These increased costs were unexpected and were not in our budgets as we entered this fiscal year. But we have all had to cut, juggle, and adjust to be able to find funding for all the new testing, the equipment, and the methods of delivering these services. Yet, we are faced with the rising costs of expenses, looking at the potential of reduced revenue in the current year and future years. The fact that Somerset County schools can rely on you to keep your promise that you will receive full funding, that they will receive full funding in this great relief for not just the school boards, but the teachers, students, families, and the communities in which they serve. As a result of your proposed budget, the Somerset County freeholders were able to slightly increase funding to education in 2020 while still producing a responsible budget that maintains services for all of our residents. We budgeted $12 million for the Somerset County Vocational and Technical High School that provides incredible trade, career, and STEM training for hundreds of our high school students. This year, we increased funding to the award-winning Raritan Valley Community College, also known as RVCC, to reach an allocation of more than $10 million. Your commitment to fully fund public education, including the VOTEC, will help us continue the tradition of great schools that led NJ.com to name Somerset the best county in New Jersey to raise a family. Today's announcement shows that the state of New Jersey and our governor are committed to investing in our students and their education. For New Jersey's districts themselves, the $100 million in coronavirus relief funds will help with the additional cleaning, PPE supplies, barriers, and remote learning costs from this pandemic. As a result, every school, every student, and every parent can be a little more comfortable about their health and safety, whether in the classroom or remotely. For some of our communities and families, the additional funding for pre-K classes and support for low-income students is a blessing that will change lives forever. Pre-K classes have proven to result in higher educational achievement across all demographics. And for some of our students, the meals they get at school are a major source of nutrition for growing bodies and minds. I know some parents and some educational leaders were worried that they would have to cut these programs, but this proposed budget can at least take that one worry away. Mr. Governor, as a fellow elected official who has to look at the numbers and make difficult choices on this budget, and in fully funding New Jersey's public education, who has to look at numbers constantly to continue making those difficult choices, I appreciate your hard work. So again, thank you. But I also want to say that I appreciate your dedication to fully funding our public schools even more so, as I am one of thousands of parents and grandparents who have sent and continue to send their precious children to be educated in Somerset County's public schools. So Governor Murphy, thank you again for everything that you do to make not only Somerset County, but New Jersey the best place to raise a family. Thank you.
Chanel, thank you. And you said it better than I could ever say it. That's our objective, that New Jersey's the #1 state in America to raise a family. And a big part of that is education. And that's why we're here today. So thank you for everything, including your leadership on the Freeholder Board, soon to be a county commissioner. One more speaker. I can't imagine a guy stepping into a job, a battlefield promotion as it were, at a more challenging time. But he's done it with grace and aplomb and high professionalism. please help me welcome the Interim Commissioner of the Department of Education, Kevin Deemer. Kevin? Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Governor, for the opportunity to be here today. The COVID pandemic and the resulting economic crisis are events that our nation hasn't seen in a century. Words like unprecedented and difficult times are used so often they fail to convey the gravity of the circumstances we face. Our public schools, the pride of New Jersey, also face enormous obstacles. But for the stormy weather we've had to navigate, our schools remain strong. They say a budget reflects the priorities of the people who created it. The governor's revised fiscal 21 budget unveiled yesterday, and today's announcement about the $100 million in funding to help schools open safely speak volumes about how much this administration prioritizes education. Think about it. Despite the devastating blows that New Jersey's finances have seen, the fiscal 21 budget will provide nearly $8.7 billion in K-12 formula aid to schools. That's a record amount to support public schools. In fact, 2/3 of school districts will see an increase in state funding. This spending plan continues the phase-in to full funding that began 2 years ago with the passage of S2, legislation designed to eliminate years of funding inequities. In this budget, we're prioritizing our youngest learners with an increase of $68 million in preschool funding, $10 million of which will be used to expand new full-day programs in school districts that haven't had high-quality preschool. And the budget would continue support for STEM and other innovative programs like the Computer Science for All initiative, which would receive $800,000 to increase student access to cutting-edge computer science instruction. The budget will allocate $400,000 to support early college programs like the P-TECH program that helps students earn an associate's degree by the time they graduate high school. And it would provide $750,000 to continuing the diversifying teacher pipeline. This is important because research tells us that all students benefit from a diverse teaching workforce. Yet here in New Jersey, only 16% of our educators are teachers of color, while 56% of our students are children of color. Finally, to help secure our educational system even more, today we're announcing $100 million from the state's allocation of the Federal Coronavirus Relief Fund to help districts defray costs incurred for reopening schools in the midst of this pandemic. Every district and charter school will receive funding through this program, with additional support directed to assist districts serving our state's neediest children. We've listened to the district leaders about the challenges they face in ensuring the safety of their students and staff as they embark on the start of instruction this fall. In some cases, this means operating remotely. In other cases, it means providing in-person instruction with proper social distancing. In all cases, it means a different type of financial need than in years past. This initiative will help those districts that aren't able to open for in-person instruction by providing the funding they need to address the barriers they face in meeting health and safety standards. In addition, districts that already meet the health and safety protocols can use the funds to ensure that they can continue to maintain those standards. This is another example of how we are working to ensure safety of our students and school staff and to provide a quality education to all children in New Jersey. Again, I want to extend my gratitude to the governor. Even when faced with a global health crisis, thank you for prioritizing the health and safety of the staff and students in our schools and for prioritizing the education of New Jersey's children. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, again for today and for your leadership. Kevin makes the point, this budget is not an easy one. It has spending cuts, it has pain, but a decision we made from moment one was that we would put a ring fence essentially around public education from pre-K up through 12 because we believe, along with our location, it's talent, it's location, it's people who come here or stay here to raise their families. That's the core of how we see this state, and I think we all have broad agreement on that. we're not going to do questions today because I'm headed down to a press conference. I am happy to say, I believe it's public knowledge, that we're able to finally announce today that as of next Tuesday, we'll be able to get back inside into our gym. So that's a good day, and that hopefully will begin to relieve a burden off of literally hundreds of gym owners who have been crushed by this virus, and the overwhelming amount of whom behaved incredibly responsibly in trying to get themselves to the position where they can safely reopen, and I applaud them. So with that, I want to thank the Rockin' 16th, Senator Kip Bateman, Assemblyman Roy Fryman, and representing today so eloquently, Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker. Dennis Sullivan, thank you so much for your leadership to you and council. This is one of the great communities in this state, if not this nation. Chanel, thank you so much for your leadership in Somerset County and for everything you do, not just today, but every day. And Kevin, again, hats off to you, to the educators, to the superintendents, to the administration. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for everything you do. Be well.